What's going on, guys? It is not the end of the month. It is technically the beginning of the month, but we do have a Winner Box Finals here for you nonetheless. We had 64 players come out. This time, the GX box hype is real, though the GX box will not be released for another 5 months or so. So I'm expecting that to slow down a little bit from here. But nonetheless, 64 players came out. That gives us 7 rounds of Swiss for the tournament with a top 16 cut this time, and it all culminates with this finals right here. We've got Tetra at the top, Tensei at the bottom. Now, both these players, I would say, are veteran players for sure. Tetra's been playing since long before the Winner Box is playing and competing, since before the Winner Boxes were a thing. Tensei, I think he started around Winner Box 3 and has been playing since then. So both competing a lot, playing a lot, but I don't think either has ever gone the distance and won a major tournament. Major being like 20 plus players, Swiss, with the top cut. I don't think either have won a title like that. Neither one have one of those events under their belt. They've gotten close. I know that Tensei's made a Winner Box Finals. He's also top 4 a few times. I think Tetra's top 4. I don't think he's ever made a finals. But both have gotten close to winning tournaments and have been playing a lot, but neither have won a tournament. So both are in the finals, which means one is guaranteed to finally get their first major win here. Tetra, in fact, actually just won the Showdown this week as well, the weekly tournament held in the Speed Duel League hosted by Rook's Table. So it'd be interesting to see if he can win the Showdown and the Winner Box in the same week. That'll be the first time that's happened. He's also a good friend of mine, but I'll try and leave that bias out of it. But let's get into it and see who gets their first major victory here in Speed Duels. Tetra going to be rocking Icy Monarchs. Tensei's going to be playing a slightly different Moth build. It's not Dark Moth, and it's not even really Moth OTK to say. It's more of like a beatdown Moth. They don't run like Santa Claus, Lava Golem, and like, the Nidoria, Dekoichi, Allure packages. They instead run Gaias and Book of Moons and Zomas, which you'll see. I just realized I think my sound is off. But Tetra opening something that, most of the time this deck will open, which is set 3 plus a monster. But Tensei here needs to get through 3 back row. He has a Cyclone plus a Breaker, so he can get through 2 back row, and he has the Paranoid. So down comes the Cyclone, he hits a Zoma, not a bad hit. And he's normal summoning Paranoid. No, but he's actually going to activate the Paranoid here. I feel like he should summon the Breaker first. And not activate the Paranoid in 2 back rows, summon the Breaker, pop 1 of the back row to increase the likelihood that the Paranoid works. Because he's going to activate the Paranoid here, and yeah, it's just going to get booked. So I don't know if that was a misplay, but he could have summoned the Breaker first. And then, I don't know if he would have popped the middle one, which is the Nightmare Wheel, or the Breaker. No idea which one, but he should at least just do that to give him the likelihood that he doesn't get Book of Moon there. He can put the Paranoid back in if he wants to draw a card. But he can also do that next turn, so. And then, yeah, he summons the Breaker anyways and pops the Nightmare Wheel, so I don't know why he Cosmic, then Paranoid, then Breaker. I think he should have Cosmic, Breaker, then Paranoid. But Breaker is a good pick. That's going to force Tensei to Book of Moon that. And Tetra, of course, still has this Gaia, which is going to come up with 2300 attack after being flipped face up. So it's going to get over the Breaker. Tensei's actually going to Sphere it. If Tensei was running a standard Dark Moth build with like a Lure, I think it might be safer to hold on to the Sphere just in case he top decks a Lure. He has a guaranteed Dark Monster. But he's not, so he can just Sphere that here. Unfortunately, sees a Gaia, which is not going to deal with this 23 Gaia. He does get to put the Paranoid back, and sees another monster that can't deal with the Gaia. So, a little unfortunate there. If he saw a Paranoid there, I think that is lethal. He had 2 draws, didn't see it. And then Tetra rips into his Monarch. That is lethal. Let me see. So if he takes, right, that's 7 plus 24, so that's 31. Yeah, so that is lethal. The only thing Tetra has to be wary of is a possible Sphere Karibo on the hand. We can see the hand, so we know that Tensei does not have the Sphere Karibo, but something like Sphere Karibo into a Paranoid off the top deck would be like the only play that Tensei could get out of this. But he's going to go for it, he's going to steal. So that is going to be game 1 here, bringing down the Kaiser. So Tensei needed to see his skill monster to win this last turn, but instead Tetra sees his skill monster and wins it this turn. So that's game 1. Kind of fast, but this is Speed Duels. We're going into the side here. And we'll see what they want to... Kind of fast. I guess they just knew exactly what they wanted to decide already. But Tetra's going to be going first again. This time he doesn't see Monster 3 back row. He just sees the 3 back row. So we'll see if he wants to set him here or just pass his turn. If you set 3, you know, they'll probably not get popped. But if he only had like 1 or 2 back row to set, probably not worth it to set him because they are just more than likely going to get popped. But Tensei only sees 1 back row removal card. It's the breaker that he can come down. That's going to immediately get booked. And then Tensei's going to set his own book plus double Sphere Kribo, and he's probably going to have to use both those Sphere Kribos to protect this breaker here. Maybe he should have summoned the Gaia, to be honest. Like, summon the Gaia and swing for 19, because then if it does get booked, because the breaker's only going to pop 1 back row anyway, that's not really that big of a deal. But I guess it would probably get booked anyways, or, you know, this play would all happen from here. But then he would have breaker to pop another back row and follow up with Paranoid. I don't know. But Tetra's going to immediately use the skill, use Kaiser's Glider. A little risky because Tensei obviously has a bunch of cards in his hand. There could be a follow-up Paranoid, and Tetra won't have his skill anymore. But I think because he has Kaiser Glider and Zoma specifically, it's fine. Because like if he brings down Paranoid, he has to hit one of these. If he hits Kaiser Glider, then the Zoma does 35. If he hits Zoma, if he Paranoids the Zoma, then the Kaiser will bounce the Moth. So not the worst. I think it's fine given that he had Kaiser plus Zoma to go and use his skill and get rid of it. Otherwise, it might be a little risky for the following Paranoid, but there's not really much you can do. If he's got it, you know. So let's see. Tetra's thinking on if he wants to protect this Zoma from the guy. If he lets the guy go through, Tensei will drop to 21, but Tetra will lose a monster. He has Book and he has Nightmare Wheel. Definitely get a Nightmare Wheel. The guy, you don't want to book it. So he's just deciding if he wants to Nightmare Wheel this. And save the Zoma. And it looks like he's going to. Tensei with the Book and Zoma of himself. He rips Break. That's actually a really good top deck. Because it's going to get rid of either a Zoma or a Book here. And Tensei's just going to immediately book it, not even let the breaker decide which one to pop. He's just going to book it and keep the Zoma. I think he wants the Zoma to try and go for game here, but that does mean that the Gaia dies here, and Tensei... I don't know how Tensei gets out of it. He would have... We know that Tetra has the Book, and that pretty much... He needs to see a Paranoid here to win, and then you Paranoid to force out the Book, and then... he has Zoma, but he has Zoma here. Tensei needs to see a Paranoid. And he sees a Cyclone, which isn't even activatable. Tetra says think. What's he thinking about? Why would you book? Preemptively book. But yeah, this is like a really nice combo here. Even if you Paranoid, it's kind of awkward, but... If this board state was different, choosing to Paranoid between Zoma and Kaiser is awkward. Yeah, so that Cosmic is dead. He can't activate it. He dropped to 200 and then he can't swing. He's going to swing here, but the Book is going to stop this attack. Which I think means that Tetra just wins. Tensei has to hope the Tetra next turn attacks in the wrong order, and that's the really... Tetra... What are you humming about? You have to stop this attack, Tetra. If he lets, you have to stop this attack with Book. If you let it go through, the game's over. So he has to book it. And then it's on Tetra on whether or not the game is completely out of Tensei's hand at this point. Tetra has to attack in the wrong order. He has to attack with Kaiser first. If he swings with Breaker first, it's over. And he sees a Sphere, so even if he does mess up the attack order, he's protected the following turn. So this is going to be game. He swings with the Breaker, the correct order. Tetra's a veteran. You would not expect him to make a mistake like that. GG's come out. Tetra gets his first win. Huge congratulations to Tetra. I still remember months ago him DMing me. You're like, I try so hard and I never win. It's not fair. But he stuck with it, kept the grind going. He finished... Oh, hold on. I just realized this week Tetra... won the Speed Duel League Showdown, or the Speed Duel Showdown. He finished first place on the Dueling Book ladder, which just ended September 30th is whenever the ladder reset. So he won the Showdown, finished first place on the Dueling Book ladder for this format, and then just won the Win-A-Box. So Tetra literally hat-tricked this month So even bigger congratulations to Tetra. I don't think that will ever be done again, just because of how much needs to line up for that to happen. But he hat-tricked. He won the Showdown, the Win-A-Box, and first place Dueling Book on the Dueling Book ladder. So huge congrats. What a week for Tetra. I don't think that week will ever be topped, to be honest. The only other thing would be winning if a Speed Dueling series was also hosted, like on a Saturday that same week or something, and he won that as well. So huge congratulations to Tetra. For those that don't know, just for the, I'll explain it. So if he swings with Breaker, that gets Zoma'd, and then he swings with Zoma, that gets Cycloned, and then Kaiser swings for game. So that's the Tetra. Tensei knew it was over. He scooped. A huge congratulations. What a week for Tetra. That's crazy. Tensei, second place, not bad. Definitely a very unique build for Moth that I don't think we've seen before. We've seen a lot of Moth builds, but this sort of beatdown version has not really been played. Taking it all the way to the finals is really, really impressive. His buddy Nathan was also running a similar build. Nathan also had a great performance. We'll get more into that in the breakdown. But there you have it, Win-A-Box 14. Tetra wins it with Icy Monarchs, which is interesting to note because Icy Monarchs has not won a major event in just about 8 months. Again, we'll get more than that into the breakdown, which is coming up right now, so don't go anywhere. Here we are with our deck breakdown. As I said, we had 64 players come out, and we go bottom to top. Let's get through all these one-ofs here. So Viral Despair, still not seeing any success this format. I don't really think it ever will, so long as decks like Moth. I mean, Dark Moth, Beatdown Moth, Apprentice Moth, Relinquished Moth, Stego Moth. I mean, Moth is just everywhere, and when your deck revolves around, again, having a 28, 3000 monster, the fact that they contribute that and bring out a 3500 monster will always pretty much keep this deck down. It also has its own issues, consistency issues and whatnot. But TP Burn showed up this event. We had TP Apprentice Monarchs. Now you see Apprentice Monarchs up here. This is usually ran with the Inner Conflict skill. This one was ran with the Twisted Personality skill, which I do not recommend. But interesting nonetheless. We had Stego Moth, that is Mavericks, with his signature deck at this point. He piloted it to a Win-A-Box finals before, and he pretty much plays it every Win-A-Box since. We've got Skull Servants here, Relinquish Moth, continuing the, I guess the habit of just sticking Moth with any engine you can find. We've got Magnet Monarchs. This is an interesting contraption from Bytes. Put this together. But it's an interesting deck. It runs, obviously, the Magnet package, and then it also runs the Rock Monarch, which whenever you tribute someone gets to pop a set card on the field. So that's really interesting as a deck. It almost topped. He finished, I think he was 1 win away from topping with it. So definitely an interesting deck. And then we've got Icy Warriors, which is Icy Monarchs basically, but puts a little bit more of an emphasis on the Warrior package being played. Rat Burn 0 for 2. Giant Rat has just not really made much of an impact on this. I thought it'd be okay coming into the format, but it just hasn't really done that much, unfortunately. But getting into some more interesting decks here, we've got Beatdown Moth. So as we saw, that was the deck that Tensei played. He got to the finals. His buddy Nathan also had a really good showing, made it to top 4. Tensei and Nathan paired against each other in the top 4, and Tensei won it. Nathan was undefeated in Swiss. So he only had the 1 defeat, and then Tensei obviously made the finals with the deck. So really, really good showing from Beatdown Moth. I think it was like 13-3 or something close to that for this event. So this is the first time I think we've seen a deck like this, and it did really, really well. Small sample size, but it did really, really well. So I'm interested to see if this ends up being a more popular way to play Dark Moth, or ends up becoming similar to Dark Moth in terms of how often it's played compared to the rest of these other Moth versions that don't really see too much success. But as you can see, it doesn't focus on, it runs Gaia and Zoma and Book of Moon, which are a little bit more grindy beatdown decks, or cards that, you know, focus on pressuring your opponent before it goes for the Moth play, versus running the Santa Claus and the Allures and just focusing on that one big single turn push for game. But it did well, so we'll see what the future holds for it. Apprentice Moth, Ron Wiz pretty much is a big advocate of this deck and always plays it whenever I see. He did top with it, so it's okay. You know, we've got Spellproof Armor and Relinquished here. 0 for 3 and 0 for 3, that sounds about right for Spellproof Armor. There's always a couple people willing to play those decks, and they pretty much just never go the distance, but they are fun to play. So, and that's what matters. Magnet Warriors. So if you paid attention to the last couple Win-A-Box breakdowns, Magnets was on an 0 for 10 spree, I think. 0-5 in Win-A-Box 12, 0-5 in Win-A-Box 13. A little bit of a redemption arc here. We've got 2 for 3 topping, and these lists both ran double Valkyrion. So interesting to see. We even had a magnet conversion in the deck, which adds 3 magnets from the grave to the hand. So interesting deck, but things might be looking up for the Magnet Bros. Coming back with the 2 tops out of 3 plays after the 0-10 fiasco. TP Warriors, always a heavily played deck. I would say it's just beneath the big 4 for the format is TP Warriors, and usually does. Okay, we see the 1 top. XYZ Unions, 2 of 8. This deck is pretty much completely mapped out. There's not too much variation in the builds that I see. Maybe 1 or 2 cards. Usually it's in the side deck. The main deck is everybody runs pretty much the same 20 cards, give or take 1 or 2 cards. It's really just, do you want more Foolish Burials, more Offerings? That's really where you see them differ in the main deck anyways, but still popular. I was not expecting it to be the 4th most played deck. I was expecting it to be number 1 or number 2, but still decent showing. Icy Monarchs, which was your tournament winner with Tetra. This again is the first tournament that Icy Monarchs have won in 9 months. They have not won a major speed duel tournament since, I think, Tetra's Win-A-Box, which is fun. Tetra's Win-A-Box was the last tournament that Icy Monarchs won. It's been a 9-month drought since then, and Tetra wins with Icy Monarchs to give them their first one. But 9 months, basically a pregnancy term before Icy Monarchs is able to birth another win. And we will just restart the clock for them. Let's see if Icy Monarchs can get another win or wins before the GX box drops, which I expect will change up a lot of the meta. It's just a lot of cards in a completely different era. But 2 of 9, not bad. And then we've got Dark Moth, which, man, I can't even remember. Has Dark Moth ever been the most played deck? I don't think so. It's always been a terror. It's always been a solid deck, but I don't think it's ever really been able to eclipse Apprentice Monarchs or Icy Monarchs or XOZ Unions in a Win-A-Box. But it tied for most played deck in the event. Interesting to note, though, 2 topped, but both were eliminated in the top 16. So not much else to say on Dark Moth there. And then we had Apprentice Monarchs, which I was not expecting it to be tied for the most played deck, and I was definitely not expecting almost half the people that played the deck to top with it. So they were all out in the top 6. 3 of the 4 were out in top 16. Nikki was out in top 4, so almost made the finals. Nikki has had an incredible run. He won Win-A-Box 12, second place Win-A-Box 13, and now top 4 in Win-A-Box 14. So huge run from Nikki. I would expect a top 8 in his future to continue the trend of first, second, top 4, top 8, top 16, and then finally he misses a top cut. But Apprentice Monarchs still a very solid deck from what I'm seeing here. So that's going to do it for this tournament. If you would like to participate in these tournaments, the largest ongoing speed duel tournaments around the Speed Duel League Win-A-Box, you can sign up for them in the Speed Duel League Discord. The invite link to that Discord is in the description below. We host one every single month. This month's Win-A-Box is actually, I think, starting about 12 hours from the time of this video, so you don't have much time to sign up for this one, but we do host one every single month. They are free entry, 72-hour rounds, and the winner gets their choice of a booster box or $50. Also, we finally have a speed duel, or a weekly speed duel tournament, if you did not know, because we've been hosting, I think, 7 or 8 of them now, but we have the Speed Duel Showdown, courtesy of Rook's Table, that is hosted every single Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, and that's hosted over at twitch.tv/Rook's Table. So the Speed Duel League now has 2 tournaments, one is weekly, one is monthly. So definitely join the Speed Duel League Discord to sign up for those and participate in that. So that's going to do it for this tournament. I hope you guys enjoyed Win-A-Box number 14, and I will see you guys in the next video.